What's going on, guys? This is Lior and welcome back to my channel. Now, what I thought I would do in this video is talk about 3 high-level metrics that I obsessively track on each one of my development and construction projects. Now, I'm actually standing outside a project I'm just finishing up. We're gonna walk through it as I talk about those 3 metrics, but these are metrics that I always am on the lookout for at the beginning of the project, throughout the project, and towards the end of a project. I think they're super important, so make sure you stick around. Let's get at it. So as we enter into one of the units here, as I said, with every development project, there's metrics that we as developers have to track, right? Because if you're not financially tracking the health of a project, right, there's so many moving pieces. You can get change orders, you can think of different design ideas, finishes ideas. You as a developer ultimately need to control the financials of your project. So with that, let's go right into those 3 key metrics, starting with metric number 1, which is the rolling budget versus a projected budget, right? So obviously, every time we start a project, we put together a budget, right? The budget has line items for everything from cabinets, cords, fixtures, appliance package. I mean, literally a line by line, full budget. But as we go through a project, obviously things happen, right? We get change orders, right? We start thinking about, hey, what if I upgrade, maybe instead of a basic package of cabinets, I want a little bit nicer, right? Maybe instead of 36-inch cabinets, I want 42. Whatever it might be, we're starting, your budget is gonna be in flux. And it's your job as a developer to always kind of keep track of, how does my budget look today? What are the new costs that are coming in that maybe are higher than expected or lower than expected? And then there's also potential foreseeable expenses, right? Like maybe it's the start of the project and I'm thinking of doing something at the very end that I know is gonna incur extra cost. How does that impact my budget today as I see it fit, right? This is really important for me to know because I gotta know, where can I spend my money? Where do I need to potentially track and maybe even cut some things out, right? Because I gotta make sure overall that budget number, which will go into the total analysis metric, which I'll talk about next, is on par and on expectation with what I need it to be. So the second metric that we want to always constantly be thinking about during a development project, and this is more from an operational day-to-day perspective, is invoicing versus your cash for that project, right? Because with development and any sort of construction, the thing that, the biggest killer that you always want to avoid as the owner is slow down in the project, right? And nothing slows down a project like a lack of cash. And what's going to happen throughout the project is you're going to start to get obviously invoices from different material suppliers. You're going to have your subcontractors or general contractors invoicing you for progress payments. And if you as the owner don't have that cash, it's going to slow down, right? Because materials won't be shipped or ordered, contractors won't be showing up, right? So you need to figure out, what does my invoicing look like on a daily to a weekly, even potentially monthly basis, right? So you need to track, what are my invoices coming in? And there's gonna, the way I generally do it is I look at my immediate invoices due this week. I also look at my upcoming big payments in the next 2 weeks. And then I compare that to the cash we have in this project, right? Because again, we wanna make sure that we have that cash coming in so I can continue to make those payments. Now, if I'm short, usually what we do is we order what's called a construction draw, right? Because we usually have a construction loan and we will usually ask for proceeds the more we do work, right? So for example, when I do my finished carpentry or if I put in my shower glass, that comes in, I'll apply for a construction draw from my lender. So that's how I kind of bring more cash into the project. But again, it's up to me to make sure that cash is coming in consistently so the project moves at a really good pace. And finally, the last kind of high level metric we want to track, similar to that budget line item, is the all-in cost basis and overall performance, right? And basically what this means is we want to, of course, first take that budget number that we talked about in point number 1, and then see how it compares on an overall project basis, right? How are we looking at an all-in cost, right? So what is my projected hard costs, soft costs, acquisition costs. How does that all-in basis look versus A, what I originally projected when we were buying the deal, and then B, versus what I think we can either sell or refinance the completed project for, right? Because, development projects can be long, right? This kind of project where it was a gut renovation was a little bit shorter. It only took 6 or 7 months, but there's other new construction projects where, sometimes we're building for 2 years, right? And obviously market conditions can change during that. We can have increases in pricing, we can have market softness, right? So if I don't constantly track what does my projected all-in cost look like, or my basis of the project, then I won't really know how to react, right? Like I won't know, is the project on path to be profitable? Is there potential issues I need to think about? Do I need to think about changing strategies from condos to apartments, which I've done in the past? Do I need to think about changing my budget or the finished package level, right? There's so many different variables that can be impacted. And again, it's up to me as the owner, or you as the owner of your project, right, to constantly know what that basis looks like and how does it look like versus projected back-end values. So those are the 3 metrics that, again, I think are critical for every developer and owner to track through their project, whether it's new construction or renovation. It needs to be something you constantly track, you constantly monitor, right? Because again, it is up to us as the owners to make sure the project is profitable, that it looks good from every step along the way, and that we can continue to move that project along financially throughout the course of construction. So hopefully that's helpful, guys. Let me know if you have any questions.